Hey, thanks for making it to Veterans Info Tap. I am glad you made it. Let's talk about the secrets to getting to 100% permanent and total designation for your VA disability compensation. Number one, I'm just going to throw out there mindset. Don't think that 100% specifically permanent and total is the highest of the high and reserved for the worst cases out there. That is not true. The most severe circumstances in the veteran world would be rated on the SMC scale for rating disability compensation. So SMC is special monthly compensation. So get that part out of your mindset and look at your own situation, your own ball of wax, your own conditions, okay? So there are some of you out there that might be 100% but not permanent and total, and you may meet the criteria for the permanent and total designation, and we'll touch on that toward the end on how you can request that. But right now we're going to kind of talk about what's needed to get you there, even if you're currently at a 10, 20, 30% rating, what you need to focus on and what you need to do to get you over the hump to get you to that 100% permanent and total designation. Now, what does it mean, permanent and total? Well, total means 100%. Permanent means that your conditions that took you to a 100% are deemed static, okay? They are deemed not to improve. They are permanent in nature, right? In their severity. So that's a good way to kind of think about that. So with that being said, if your conditions have a provable static situation for more than 5 years, or they're just static in nature due to the type of condition it is, you want to make sure that that is listed as such with the VA. So one, you should get your C file. You should look and see the designations for each one of your ratings that you have with the VA. And you can do that yourself. You might be able to call the VA and have them tell you over the phone, hey, can you tell me what of my 7 conditions, are they all static? Can you tell me which ones are static? They might tell you that over the phone. You can also bring on an accredited representative who has access to the VA system through a PIV card. So an ID card with a little computer chip, right? Kind of like the new military, newer military ID cards. They've been in existence for a while now. But you can remote desktop into the VA's VBMS system and pull up this information as an accredited representative if you have that card. So they can tell you which ones are static. So it's important to know where you are so you can know where you're going. Now, if you're 100% and it took you 3 or 4 tries, right? So you filed, 3 or 4 times over the course of your life, and finally you got to 100%, but it's not permanent and total. There is a chance that the VA just didn't hit the switch to make you permanent and total. Okay, there's a chance that all of your conditions are deemed static and they just never kind of put it together. There is a chance for that mistake. It happened to me personally. I've seen it happen to others, and you need to then request the VA to make you a permanent and total status due to the static nature of all of your conditions. Now, here's the first thing that pops into people's mind. Don't poke the bear. They can reduce you, blah, 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 blah. If your conditions are deemed static by the VA and you have not improved in any of those conditions, I personally wouldn't worry. I didn't worry because I knew there's just no way that they're going to reduce me. If they want to reduce me, they're going to have me go do a CMP exam, of which I will let them know gladly that my condition is not any better. It's actually worse. Thank you very much. So if you miraculously, hallelujah, healed from a condition that you're rated for, well, then maybe you need to worry. But for the rest of everybody, you probably don't need to worry. I'm just saying. All right, so checking to see if you're all statics, and then if you're not static on some of your conditions, how long has went by, right? Since you got rated or since you've had that condition, has it been 5 years? Remember, the 5-year rule with the VA essentially talks about being static, right? So once you've determined that you have not improved for a period of 5 years, now that condition is essentially deemed static. Now, again, you're working with the VA. I would probably say work with your doctor to make sure you document that stuff in the event that you need to provide that proof, right? Now, if you're not already at 100% in your 30, 50, whatever your percentage is, here's the thing. You need to really, really, again, look at where you're at. What conditions do I have rated with the VA, right? What are my service-connected conditions? Of those conditions, what are my ratings, right? So I'm this for that, I'm this for that, I'm this for that. Okay, now you need to take the time to go through your rating schedules with the VA and figure out if you're rated appropriately, right? Did you get rated 10% for migraines, but really you could have got 50, right? You need to understand the rating schedules, understand where you fall on them, and is there a way for a bump there? Now, in that same kind of thought process, did you miss anything that could have potentially been service connectable, right? So with direct service connection, if you do not have your service treatment records from your time in service, you should order them. Order them with the SF-180, SF-180, standard form 180, simple form to fill out. You probably know everything off the top of your head. The last page tells you where to mail it, depending on your time in service and branch of service, where you need to mail it. If you have breaks in service, if you served in different branches, if you served reserves and not reserve, whatever, you might have multiple places you have to mail it. Now, get that, go through it and see if there is anything there that you had talked about during your time in service that you might have access to having that already, I guess, an easier road as far as Nexus is concerned. Now, just because it's not mentioned in your service treatment records doesn't mean don't pursue it. I love to use migraines because this is something that is self-treatable, right? Many people who suffer from migraines often go to the grocery store, you buy some Motrin or Advil or whatever, some aspirin, some Excedrin, whatever it is, and you pop that and you move on. If your migraine started during your time in service, those are a service connectable condition. You just need to do a little footwork up front, and you need to build the case, if you will, by writing your own statement, getting buddy statements, maybe statements from family members, and getting a Nexus letter from a doctor. Okay, getting that stuff put together will help support your claim. So you want to look to see if you have any other conditions to file so you can build yourself up to that 100%. Now, those would be the direct service connections. Are your current direct service connections at the right rating? And did you miss any potential direct service connection conditions? All right. Now, let's talk about secondary conditions. Secondary conditions are a condition that results due to your service connection condition, your service connected condition, right? I once had a doctor tell me, hey, look, your back is messed up. You have some issues going on. In time, as you get older, you're going to start pushing yourself out of the chairs, right? It's going to happen. You're going to push yourself out of the chairs, and your elbows and shoulders are going to start to have problems. Those are secondary conditions, right? So if you start to develop other problems due to a service-connected condition, then you're going to have that ability for secondaries. Same thing with, let's say, your musculoskeletal conditions are causing such havoc that it's making you depressed. That would be a mental health secondary. Let's say that you hurt your left ankle and now you walk with a limp, and now all of a sudden your right side is starting to have problems, right? If you can document that, that could be a secondary. So looking at potential increases, missed opportunities for direct service connection, looking at secondary conditions, and also looking at any potential new conditions that are deemed to be presumptive, right? Because there's new presumptives that get thrown out there, and maybe you qualify for one of those. So not leaving anything on the table. Now, I did pull up some stuff here as well, and I wanted to just read through this to see if there's anything that might be of importance that maybe we had missed. So it says here, there is no secret to receiving 100% permanent and total VA disability rating. The only path is to submit comprehensive and detailed medical evidence that demonstrates your service-connected condition is both totally disabling and unlikely to improve over your lifetime. Okay, so you can, and this is the problem with pulling stuff up, right? So what that sounds like is you can only have one condition that takes you there. Okay, so your service-connected condition. One condition takes you there. Not true. You can have multiple conditions that take you there. So this is why I am not a fan of just pulling up things and reading things, but I do like to do it so I could share the misses, right? These little misses create a different perspective for people. So it says service-connected condition. Not true. Can be conditions. And they did mention that it's unlikely to improve over the lifetime, which refers to static, right? Static in nature. So a 100% P&T rating is not the same as 100% total rating. And again, we talked about what is permanent and total. Total is 100. Permanent means that it is not deemed to get any better. And there are additional benefits that come with being permanent and total. While both provide the maximum compensation, which is also not true because the maximum compensation is actually on SMC, the special monthly compensation disability compensation rating schedule. It's just a different one, but it pays out substantially more. A P&T rating protects you from future reexaminations and potential reductions in your benefits. What is a 100% total disability rating? Okay, well, 100% total disability rating from the VA means that you have one or more service-connected disabilities that are considered completely disabling. So at least here they added in one or more. There are three main ways to reach this rating. A single condition, a single severe injury or illness such as the loss of a leg or both legs, blindness, both eyes, or certain mental health condition can be rated at 100% on its own. Combined conditions, which is the most frequent. Combined conditions, multiple service-connected conditions can combine to reach a 100% rating. The VA uses a whole-person combined rating system, not simple addition. To calculate the overall disability percentage. A combined rating of 95% or higher is rounded up to 100%. Most people understand that the VA uses VA monkey math, and I've done examples of that in the past. I'm going to skip that one today. Individual unemployability, or TDIU, which is total disability individual unemployability. Again, in VA world, total means 100%. You can receive compensation at the 100% rate even if your combined rating is lower than the 100% rating if your service-connected conditions prevent you from holding down substantially gainful employment. All right, to qualify for TDIU, you must have one disability rated at 60% or higher, or two or more disabilities with a combined rating of 70% or more, with at least one at 40%. So the 70-40 rule. I mean, and there's different ways that you could talk about it, but a combined rating of 70 with at least a 40 involved. Proving your rating is permanent. This is where the information is really where the rubber meets the road. So for your 100% rating to also be permanent, you must provide medical evidence showing that that the condition is not expected to improve over the rest of your life. This is a higher burden of proof than simply showing a condition is disabling right now. Examples of conditions that often qualify as permanent include loss of limb, blindness, paralysis, a long-standing, totally incapacitating disease where the medical prognosis shows no improvement. And really, it's based on time too, because the VA's 5-year rule essentially calls this out and says, look, if you don't show improvement in 5 years, well, then we're probably going to consider that static, right, with no future examination. Key evidence to build your case. To secure a 100% permanent and total rating, you must build a strong case with supportive evidence. Medical records provide detailed medical records from both the VA and private doctors documenting the diagnosis, the treatment, and the severity of your condition. Very important. Next one is Nexus Letter. So a Nexus Letter is not always required. Okay, I've talked about this before. A Nexus Letter helps you to establish the nexus. You must prove the nexus of the conditions, right? The conditions must be related to your service in some sort of way, and that's providing the Nexus Letter helps to support that, right? So it's not simply the condition was caused by your time in service, but rather manifested during your time in service. All right, so here it says, obtain a letter from a medical professional that provides a medical opinion linking your current disability directly to your military service. If it's needed. You don't always need one. If you were diagnosed during your time in service and the date of your diagnosis is in your time of service, that is the nexus. It's been completed. You don't need to go get a Nexus Letter. Personal statement. Submit a personal statement describing in detail how your disability impacts your daily life, work, and social functioning. And, I would say that, again, it just depends, right? You can always write those types of statements. And you would also want to include in there the length of how long you've been dealing with it and that you've seen no improvement would probably be important as well. Again, this is why I read this stuff, so I can go, look, if you're just reading things and think you got it under control, you don't. If you follow this thing, you could end up shooting yourself in the foot. All right, lay statements. Gather statements from friends, family, or fellow service members who have witnessed how your disability affects you. Sure. This, again, your own personal statement and lay statements typically come into play when you are trying to prove the nexus. Your medical evidence is going to have more weight when it comes to the impacts on yourself, right? And for the correct percentage. Now, your doctor needs to be working with you to really outline how your condition is going to be rated by putting in verbiage directly from the rating schedule. If your doctor can't, won't, or doesn't, reach out to AME, American Medical Experts. They will do it for you the right way as they understand how the VA works. This is what they do, and they are board certified doctors. All right, vocational expert report. Okay, this is for TDIU, again, total disability, individual unemployability. If you're pursuing a rating based on unemployability, a vocational expert can provide an assessment of how your disability affects your ability to work. How to request a P&T designation. Number one, you should absolutely know that you are static, that the VA deems you static in every single one of the well, doesn't need to be everyone. Again, the nuances. That you have enough conditions with ratings that take you to a 100% rating that are deemed static. You can have 5 other conditions that aren't static, but as long as you have enough that take you to 100% with VA funky math, so that's to 95%, so it rounds up. As long as you make it to that with static conditions, and you know that the VA is deeming you static for those conditions, then you go down this road. If your current 100% rating is not permanent, you can submit a request for a P&T status. You can do it online or you can do it by paper. You can file a new claim on va.gov, and instead of writing a condition, you just write request for permanent and total disability status. And I would say, due to static nature of current conditions, X, Y, and Z, right? Provide a permanent and total request letter is on here, and it says your treating physician or private provider can write a letter explaining why your condition is static and unlikely to improve. I'm a fan of that. Work with your doctor to write you a letter talking about your conditions and that they're static in nature and not deemed to improve. With a current date stamp on their letterhead, the VA is going to go, well, this is up-to-date current information that all these conditions are static in nature. Now, if the VA has already deemed you static, it's kind of a moot point. But if you have conditions that you know are static, but the VA hasn't deemed them such, then this is something that you could do, and you can supply that evidence as well. Include that medical evidence. Make sure to submit all relevant medical records and statements to support your claim. So again, if all of your conditions are deemed static that take you to 100% rating with the VA, but you're not permanent and total, request the permanent and total designation. If not all of your conditions are deemed static and you have some outliers that are not deemed static by the VA, but you've had them for 5 years or more, you want to work with your doctor to supply a letter talking about your condition, that it has stayed stagnant and it is not deemed to improve at all, it's considered static, then I would mention that and write a letter in there that it's been more than 5 years, it's been 7 years, the condition has not shown any improvement, it is deemed static and not to improve for the remainder of your life. Whatever the verbiage your doctor wants to use, supply that as evidence so that the way the VA can put that in their file, change that designation to static, and then change your overall to a permanent and total. Now again, if you magically healed, right, and you no longer warrant the rating that you have, well then you need to be careful. But I would say the lion's share of veterans out there, their conditions are not getting better. And you could potentially be missing out on benefits, additional benefits, if you actually qualify for permanent and total, but you're not taking advantage of it. So with that, thanks for watching. I appreciate you very much. Have a great one. And remember, if we don't take care of each other, something went wrong.